Greetings, guys. In this video, I'm going to take you guys through how we can use a bunch of Zing's generative AI functions. So, as we kind of enter Zing, you're able to kind of start editing or create a workflow. As we want to test out a few workflows, we're going to go ahead and create a workflow. We can upload a sample image here in our testing bar in order to see what the workflow steps entail. When we talk about generative AI functions, we're basically talking about like erasing using a generative AI tool, or we're talking about generating a background, extending a background, cropping a background, using AI to be able to understand those things. And that is where this is going to be essential, where we can also see how we're using generative AI for skin retouch and retouching different aspects of the face as well. So let's use a sample image. Let me take a sample image, a different sample image in this case, for generative AI. So let's select this bottle. So what we see here is like we have this photograph of this bottle with a nice aesthetic background. This is a perfume bottle, and what all are we able to kind of do with generative AI? So the first thing I'm going to kind of let's take a human model in in the starting case. So the first thing I would want to show is how we're actually able to erase certain parts using generative AI. So as you see everywhere, it's generative AI. It's kind of written gen. We'll also be able to see subject driven generative fill. Then be able to see generate background as well. So, and we'll also quickly watch out for mannequin to model because that's also one of our beta functions for generative AI. So let's begin with generative AI erase. And here we have to put in a certain number of functions is there. So let's remove an object. In this case, I want to remove the logo. And I will select precise. Let's say I would want a proper outline or a rectangle around the object in this case, strictness to be low, and the count to be all, for example. I'm going to save this and I'm going to quickly see its result. Okay, it has actually gone ahead and removed the logo. So I can quickly test it as well on one more image, for example. And okay, it seems to be working well. So I can again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, select the correct export settings from JPEG to a range of other ones. I can select the processing resolution, change the DPI as per the guideline, change the file size, and in the workflow name, go ahead and mention the name, which in this case would be, let's say, remove logo erase, Gen AI erase, so that I kind of also remember what function I had put in. Then I'm going to quickly create this workflow. It will turn up on the top left again. Select it, use this workflow. I can upload, let's say, a few images which would probably have logos in them. Let's try and see if we can do this. And let's try and do this. Now, see, we have logos, and in some cases, we also have text. So, I would want to have the opportunity to kind of edit and customize this workflow. So, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to try and say logo and text. And I think it should continue to work here. I would want to use this edited workflow. I already have 7 images selected, and I would go ahead. And again, here I have the option of number of images and outputs I would want to see. So let's see 2 outputs per image, and I'm going to process this. So this is where we're going to kind of try and removing stuff from images. You can try for multiple different aspects. We've seen people remove earrings. We've seen people kind of get rid of tattoos in photo shoots. Of course, I'm going to go take you to skin retouch as well. Our kind of results have started showing up. So I'm going to open it, and here you're able to see that okay, in a lot of these cases we've gotten rid of the logo here, out, logos out. Here we haven't gotten rid of the text maybe. Uh, the perfume bottle hasn't done well, but for everything in clothing that we tested it for, we've gotten a great result. So again, this is where I'm showing you how you're able to use generative AI erase. Now the other option that I wanted to quickly show you was in a case where you want to generate a background. This is the other AI function in Zing that you can again use at scale, for example. So in generate background, what I would do is the first thing is like this product already has a background. I want to change it. So I'm going to remove and clip the background. As soon as I select that, that's happened. I'm going to add margin guidelines. Let's say it's 1400 by 1200. I put in margin everywhere and an alignment in the center. Yeah. Now let's say I want the shoe to be placed like on a basketball court or on a street in a city. So I would go ahead, select generate background, and I can put in my prompt here. A shoe placed on a street in a modern city, depth of field, and high quality photo and real shadows. So I've kind of put in a few verbal cues as a prompt to be able to see what it throws out. And there it's kind of placed the shoe, it's given us a shadow, there's like a nice street in the background. And let's say the product looks a little too big. I want to change the margin guidelines, and I'm gonna, let's say, give left and right margin at 20, so that there's some breathing room around the product and the edge of the image. So as soon as I change the margin, then we'll be able to like we'll be generating a new background, and then we'll kind of have a little different output as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So now there you go. So it doesn't do it 100% every time. I'm going to probably go and change the margin to 15-15 each. Save. But again, you see, it's kind of gotten context on the background, on the image, the placement. And again, here, I think it's done a very good job. I like how this output has come. So I'm going to quickly save this workflow, gen background, gen back, create this workflow. Now let's use this workflow in upload some images. I have some images in my downloads as well. So I'm gonna quickly go. Let's select this image, for example. And oh, sorry, we can select a fair few more, in fact. So let's go to downloads. And within these brooks, I have a few. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, okay, let's try these six. We have two options of these. I'm gonna quickly select them again. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Two options of each, and then we have them processing. So you're always able to track your processes as soon as you've kind of given in the commands for all the images as well. So here we'll start looking at the images as well. And there you're able to see, because we had given a similar prompt for that shoe, how we've been able to kind of replicate uh, that similar prompt, similar kind of essence in the background, which gives us a lot of power, because we know what kind of theme we're sticking to and relatively what kind of output we're going to get. And the speed again is commendable, because we're getting all of these outputs so quickly. Something like this actually looks almost like a real photo. Even when we're kind of moving around, you'll be better able to see as well. So that is like a quick example on how you can use images in the generative AI bit for backgrounds. I'm going to do a lot more detailed series on that as well. The next thing that, let's say we can move on to is face retouch. This is again one of our Gen AI functions, where you have, in some cases, model shoots where there are blemishes on the skin, pimples, rashes. While in a lot of cases those things would not be required, face retouches, but in cases where it is, Zing actually has some of the state of the art technology. At a click of a button, you'll be able to see how we're able to kind of rectify all of the blemishes, as well as like the pimples, uh, the kind of stuff under our eyes, and kind of give it that soft and clean touch as well. Quickly, let's try this out for another image, where we would have, let's say, this female also has a few pimples on her face, and how we will quickly be able to kind of get rid of that. So again, the same thing goes here. You're better able to create a workflow. You are able to export all these settings, and then go ahead and edit these images at scale. So we've so far been able to do face retouch, Gen AI erase, generate background. Now the last one that we have is subject driven generative fill, where we kind of have to extend the image, or we kind of have to the change the aspect ratio completely. And that is when it becomes a lot of that is when it comes to a lot of importance. So let's say we have this image that we have selected. I'm going to select subject driven generative fill, and I want this image to, let's say, become a square image, because this is a vertical rectangle. So I'd say 1500 by 1500, given a margin requirement of 20% everywhere, and provide central alignment. So here you're able to see how this image has been, the foreground has been extended, the sides have been stretched, and we've kind of kept the margin guidelines as we had put in. Now let's say I want to be able to make the product look a little smaller as well. So I would make it 25, 25, 25, and 25. So this is now I'm showing you how you're actually effectively able to zoom out. Now, if I want to zoom out further from this, then I would, let's say, make it 30, 30, 30, 30. So there we have effectively created zoom out. And if I want to change again the aspect ratio, I change the height to, let's say, 1,000. You see how it'll react and kind of create a further vertical image of what we already had. So this is how you're able to use generative fill effectively to change the aspect ratio. And the last thing I would want to show you is how I can increase the width uh, to a lot. And now you'll be able to see how we're able to stretch the image. And that is like by creating a shadow and making it look effectively like a photo shoot, or an extension of the shoot itself. So that's a little bit about how you can use some of the best AI functions for image editing at scale using Zing AI. Thank you so much, guys.